All right, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Let's take a look and see what Bitcoin is doing. So, right now I'm on the monthly time frame. As you can see, we are bouncing off of this 50 MA for right now, 59,339. We had quite an expansive month so far. I was hoping to see that we would get quite a big wick to back to the upside, but as far as it goes, I mean, 7 days is when we have our, basically our week or monthly candle close now. And I just don't see that happening. Like I really don't see us getting to a point where we get a long wick. I definitely think that we are more bearish at this point. Especially given the fact that we've lost a lot of these key levels that are now going to act as resistance for Bitcoin. Um, so taking out a look at our weekly here, you can notice that we are basically right above the 200 MA. If I were to go into, let's go into the CME chart here. Let's see. Sorry, let me go this way. Yep, there we go. So I were to go to the CME chart, taking a look at the weekly, you guys will be able to see that we actually have lost or barely about to lose. The 200 MA, it's at 62,641. So we're right there. We're right about to lose it. There's a good chance we will lose it if this week, is bearish like I expect. So we lost it, at the beginning of June, and then we've kind of slowly just been hovering above it. Basically, what I'm seeing is that we're kind of creating, almost like another little shoulder here, but something that just buys time for the 21 MA to come down here, essentially. That's what I'm seeing on a weekly time frame, basically. So, when it comes to the daily, um, I am of the mindset that, and I think I explained it this morning, but I'm of the mindset that we're in a bearish week again, mainly because we pumped on Monday. And usually, when we're in a bullish week, you want to see Monday dump or at least kind of hang around weekly open. But we pumped hard on Monday up to, almost the 65,705 area. We pumped to about 65,588. And, we saw some a strong rejection from there and then got rejected off of this support level, couldn't even stay above that. And then now we couldn't keep our 63,372 that we were in for a while. So now we're in between, 62,146 and 63,372. It's just not looking great. And I have a pretty decently sized Bitcoin order. This is probably maybe even my only one I take for the week, but I have it at weekly open around 63.2. I'm kind of front running this. But what I'm expecting is that we get either a bounce, tonight or possibly even tomorrow where we test this, maybe even wick above it a little bit like we did last week, and then we just fall. Um, that's kind of my expectation. If it hits, great. If it doesn't, I'm not, fully upset about it. It's fine. Not going to play into emotions with that. So that's what I'm seeing for right now. I personally am not playing all of this chop. It's a lot. I don't want to get chopped up in it. So the 12 hour is somewhat giving you a tweezer bottom. You could potentially long that right here. Again, I'm not expecting a huge move to the upside. It would be a small bounce. We're talking maybe not even $1,000 move to get back up here and test this out, right? So, just kind of keep that in mind. Take that with a grain of salt. Like I said, you could do that. High risk, not financial advice, but um, I just am not seeing us get back above where we made our high on Monday this week. I do not see us doing that anytime soon. I think that this month is probably going to close bearish. Again, that's what I'm seeing in the way that I read charts. You might see it a completely different way, but that's currently what I'm seeing in my analysis. So looking at the 8 hour, kind of have the same thing. You could close it as a tweezer bottom off of this support level right here. Same with the 4 hour. Um, really not a lot of price movement right after we had these expansive moves. We're just getting a lot of compression candles. So I'm expecting there to be another expansive move, soon. We could even get a decent block up. But it's going to be very interesting to see how we react off of the weekly open. And we're going to take a look at liquidity in a bit to also see, what trading different shows, right, on the heat map there. So we'll look at the 1 hour, and you can see, like, it's really difficult to make money off of this. This looks like a Saturday to me. I mean, unfortunately on Saturday we actually had some movement, so it's not surprising to me that we kind of have a really interesting and weird week. I think I've mentioned before that whenever we pump or dump over the weekends and we do it violently, the week is kind of trashy. So I'm really not surprised that we're getting this seek and destroy chop here. I mean, look at, you're ranging from like what, 60, almost 62,000 even, to a high of 62,730, so not even $1,000 move this whole day. You're just kind of chopping around. It's craziness, right? So, I am not playing this. This is not something that I can be profitable in with myself with my trading style. So, um, 15 minute, you're getting above this 21, which is great. You could consolidate. Unless we start getting a violent move up, it's just not looking great for the bulls, honestly. You could definitely get, a slow movement up, like I said, possibly getting rejected off of here, but that's kind of just what I'm seeing so far, is just some small bounces, but nothing major. Um, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what trading different looks like here. Um, so I actually have been experimenting around a little bit more with trading different, and I've discovered some new tools I'm going to show you guys. I have not done a lot of experimentation with this, so just kind of bear that in mind. I'm still kind of messing around with this, but on the daily time frame, and each one of the different time frames has this capability, but there's actually a way to like further consolidate the liquidity, like group the pool lines together, so you can actually zoom in on the time frames. So I'm gonna kind of zoom in and see if we see any liquidity to the upside, any bridges at all. And it doesn't even look like, having that all checked off, I mean, even going up to like 15, we're not even getting any bridges, right? So um, that's not a great sign. You don't have a lot of concentrated daily liquidity to get you back up to the upside. So it's not great, but to the downside, you still have quite a bit. And we've been talking about this 56, 834, 53, 810 ish, is what we've been talking about. And then, of course, our blue lines kind of showcasing the previous, consolidation period that we were in back in 2024. So we definitely want to see, that we keep 54,707, because that's our value area low of the current range from the compression period, or not compression, consolidation period back in 2024. So that's what I'm kind of looking for right now. Let's go ahead and dive into the 4 hour. So the 4 hour, I'm also going to uncheck these pools. Let's see what the 25x looks like. Um, so, decent amount of liquidity starting to build up to the upside, to 69,620. Again, we started diving into this lower pool down here. I don't know if we can make it look. Yeah, I mean, you can see there's a lot of deep liquidity down here. I mean, they're starting to build up some up here, but green is definitely, it tells us that there's more concentrated liquidity than just regular blue, right? So um, I definitely see more liquidity to the downside here. No matter how much I zoom in, there's still more green area here. So, it alludes to the fact that we're probably going to take this out sooner rather than later. I wouldn't be surprised if, we kept kind of expanding slowly for the month, or kept on kind of slowly consolidating down or dripping down through this liquidity, as far as the 4 hour goes. And then the 1 hour, let's take a look here. All right, so 1 hour, and I'm going to get into this in a bit. I've been kind of watching this and seeing how this is working, but the 1 hour, kind of showing the same thing. We're diving into this red liquidity, and there's a lot more of it to the downside. If I were to, let's see, check off, let me get rid of this. Sorry, guys. If I were to check off just the 100x, for example, maybe zoom in a little bit, you can see, we took out a big pool. We're still not getting that bounce, which is what I wanted to see. So that's another bearish sign, is that, usually after taking out a decent pool of liquidity, you want to see a really strong bounce, and we've just been chopping all day from there. But you can see that there's some yellowish liquidity down here if I zoom into around 60,200-ish, which I know that's been on my one of the support lines I've had there. I check off 50x, you can see there's a ton below us of red liquidity. So just really pointing to the fact that we're more than likely going to go to the downside here. Um, Again, I'm bearish for the week so far. I just don't see. I mean, anything is possible. I'm not going to say that it's impossible, but probability wise, it's just telling me that we probably hit weekly open 63.2, like I was talking about, which we're looks like we're going to get there sooner rather than later. Possibly get rejected and then fall. Right. That's kind of my assumption for right now. 15-minute, yeah, I mean, you can see, a lot more red liquidity to the downside. It really is showing that we have a really good chance of this coming, falling down here. We could get rejected. We could go a little bit further, reject off of the 200 in May here. But really, we have a good possibility of just kind of, this failing, right? And I definitely see that happening. So, um, anyways, let's go into the 5 minute now. And I want to get into this trend direction here that I've been kind of watching today. So I haven't really experimented with this, but if you guys are interested in trading different, there's this trend direction strength, and you can actually they have a whole manual and tutorial for this, but you can actually use this to trade. So like, when you start entering this red right here, you could actually put a short in and you can see like how it plays out. So the short would have started right around here, and then you can just hold it and see how it plays out, and then you basically take profit once it stops. The bull indicator kind of did the same thing. You can get a long right here. You can see where you can take profit. This is something that's like a scalp. So like on the 5 minute, it just shows like what you can do. This wouldn't have been the best because you can see like you shorted right here, but then it like started going against you. So you wouldn't have made that much if you would have like taken profit right here. Um, but it's just a very interesting indicator. I'm probably going to practice it with one of my accounts, one of my demo accounts, just to kind of see how it works. Um, like this wasn't the best, right? I mean, you just got a little pump right here and then it fell. So that would have been like a break even. But supposedly when I watched the video, it said that there's if you took 100 trades and you followed it, it's like a 75% accuracy. So 75 of trades you would win, 25 trades you would lose. So I'm gonna like experiment with this a little bit more. I'll let you guys know how this works out, but I found it very interesting. The yellow line or the orange line represents like the daily time frame and what bias it has, and then like the blue line represents the 4 hour and what bias it has. So you can see like right now it's still showing that it's seeing that we're bearish. Um, but anyways, I find that really interesting, and I'm gonna, like I said, experiment with it more, and I'll let you guys know how that pans out. But let's finally go into Kiyotaka right here. So Kiyotaka is my free order book that I use to kind of align with trading difference liquidity heat map here. So you can see, I mean, there's some orders, right? There's like a decent sized order right here at 62,888. That could be possibly taken or used as resistance. You don't really have too much to the upside, so we could either plow through and head up until there's another big order that lands, but there's a decent amount of orders to the downside. So you can see there's orders to take you all the way even to like 60,005, 60,000, even 60,100. So it does it definitely alludes to the fact that there's more of a chance that we go to the downside. Um, Anyways, that's what I'm seeing on Kiyotaka versus, obviously our trading different tool. And guys, as I experiment with this, I want to make sure that, you guys know all of the different tools that are available through Trading Different. If you are interested and, if this does work out and you want to have a tool like this that helps you even with your own trades, your scalp trades, feel free to use my code tradingdifferent.com/code/Sean. You get 10% off of the full suite. So I'm going to start digging more into their tools and seeing, what they have to offer in total. I am experimenting with more things, so just keep that in mind. But definitely, this is a tool suite that I highly, highly recommend. Even, with the somewhat medium average knowledge that I have of this, I mean, I've gotten a lot of use out of it even without some of these additional tools, and I'm always discovering more. So it's pretty incredible how much they have to offer for the price that they give you. So, anyways, guys, feel free to use my code if you want that 10% off. But just keep that in mind. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. So let me go back to the simple map. We're going to look at that last. And let's take a look and see what that has here. So the simple map, let's see, you can see that we do have this. So this is going to be your 5, your 15, your 1 hour, as far as time frames go, but you do have a little bit of 100x going down. You're starting to build up more to the upside. I mean, that kind of aligns with my 63-2 idea that I have. You have quite a bit of 100x and 50x lined up, mostly 100x to the downside, so there's a lot of people going long with high leverage, right? But there's still all of this 25x, 10x, 50x, some 100x, to the downside. So it's really showing that there's a strong, bias that we are going to go to the downside before we start taking more of this out to the upside, right? When it comes to the swing trade, so that's going to be your 4 hour and your daily. You're kind of seeing the same thing, very little 25x to the upside, very little of a bridge to get us back up on the bigger time frames. And then you have, a ton of 25x, 10x, and then getting into the 5x and 3x to the downside. So, probability wise, guys, I mean, it really just doesn't look good for Bitcoin. And obviously, coming from Bitcoin, it's also not going to look good for your alts either. So just kind of keep that in mind. When you're trying to catch a bottom. I mean, it's catching a falling knife for right now. So just be cautious, be wary, not financial advice, but I just want you guys to be safe out there when trading this stuff. And especially another thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that we are now in summer, so kids are out, people are traveling, going on vacation. So you're going to be dealing with a lot less natural volume. You're going to be dealing a lot more with bots and more manipulation. So, just be wary of that. There's a lot more, you know, moves that could happen that are manipulative, right? Than on a normal basis. So, anyways, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Take care.